The goalkeeper, I think, either got sent off or was injured or something. It's a school match. And I went in net, and it was me that went in. I obviously just went, oh, I'll go in. But I was tiny. And two things happened. The first one was that a guy shot from the halfway line and it bounced about, about 4 times and still bounced over my head and went in. That was one. And then they got a penalty, and exactly the same thing. I saved the penalty with my face, and exactly. And when I saw that hit him, I'd flashed like PTSD back to them. Welcome to Buckets and Bubbles.
Hello.
It's been a long time, Mike.
It has. It feels like it was just a moment ago, but it's time has passed.
Time flies.
Yeah.
When you're
this
having
T-shirt
fun.
has been through the laundry at least twice.
Yeah, I like that T-shirt. It's very
Yeah.
nice. What?
It's from a local band called Milloy, who you might know, the lead singer of Jim McManus.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
What are the Japanese cats called? They've got
The Chinese cats, the lucky cats. Yeah.
Is it the Chinese cats?
I think they are Chinese. Well, I'm assuming so. I'm basing that on the fact that whenever I go to the Chinese supermarket, they always sell them in there.
No, I think you're right. And then Chinese takeaways, they have them, don't they?
Yeah.
I think there is a cat temple though, I believe, in Japan.
In Japan, I think there is. Yeah, there is. There's a temple there which is occupied by cats.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that the temple to cats, or did they
I
just
don't know if it's a
moved
temple
in and gone,
to
we're
cats.
having this?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a temple to cats or it's just the fact that the cats are there because they know tourists are there. Or no, I'm thinking of the one where there's deer. There's one where you can feed deer. And you walk up like 1,000 steps to get to this Japanese temple.
Is this
and
in
deer
Japan?
just come. And this is in Japan, yeah.
And the deer are there, and you can
yeah.
feed the deer. I think I've heard of that one, yes,
Yeah.
and the cat one.
Yeah.
And well, if there's tourists, there's food.
Today, I attended a lecture where they were talking about No theatre, which is Japanese pre-20th century theatre, so like medieval onwards. So that was really interesting.
Is that the stuff with the flamboyant costumes?
Yeah, the masks
there's masks and
yeah.
Because the masks they're not. Am I right in saying they're not grotesque, but they're sort of they're standard figures,
much like Commedia dell'arte. In terms of their archetypes, so there's like demons and
warriors
and damned women.
Yeah,
is another one. Yeah, it's
witches.
Good.
Burnham.
Andy Burnham.
Andy Burnham. Yeah, he's been silenced, hasn't he? Anyway, that's not what we're doing here. Mike, why is it called Buckets and Bubbles?
Okay, I know you're going to ask. Okay, the bubble. Asset bubble or mental buckets. This is an economic theory. It's the bubble because it's beautiful, shiny, and grows rapidly, but it's also hollow.
That's a bit like your football team at the moment, rising rapidly towards safety. Yeah,
but hollow in the middle, so it's structurally unsafe, given our relegation battle.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
It also could relate to the fact that you don't own your ground, and it's.
I mean, if you've looked at our finances, which are a thrilling read,
I have.
We are, we're not going to get deducted points. We're not going to be, deducted 10 points like Everton were for a £1.5 million economic thing, but then Chelsea get away with the Abramovich area with 10 million fine. That's setting up for Man City. That's setting a precedent for that. Is that?
Yeah, I reckon. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's because they'll just go. Well, it's consistent with Chelsea.
Yeah, they'll get 100 million fine.
Yeah.
Or something ridiculous, and they'll get a transfer embargo for two whatever, but that'll be it.
It'll be interesting to see this summer with Man City if A, Pep Guardiola stays, and B, how many kids they move on, because that's the thing they've been doing recently is a couple of games, they might play in Champions League, they might play this that and the other, like Cole Palmer, and then flogged 50 million. That's been their business model, and it'd be interesting to see if they do that, because they might then have to just rely on them for a season if there is a transfer embargo. So that might be telltale, because they'll absolutely know.
No, of course they will. They'll be setting up for it. What was the bucket bit?
So buckets, mental accounting. Behavioural economists use buckets to describe mental accounting. Does that mean they're just doing it in crayon and on the side of a padded wall?
Maybe just sticking fingers in a bucket to make those circles. See how many there
Jackson
are.
Pollock it.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
they just scream it at somebody passing
Maybe.
by. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
The concept: humans don't treat all money as equal.
Oh, well, Premier League certainly don't.
Yeah. We bucket our cash in different categories. The rent bucket, the vacate. Oh, so this is like, Gemini's got a Monzo account. That's
Monzo
what's going
account.
on
That's
there.
exactly. I was just going to say that's exactly what's happening. It's
Yeah.
just surreptitiously promoting Monzo.
Yeah.
The FA Cup game as well. We've already said we both went through. I
Yep.
can't remember. I think yours ended 2-2 with Brighton, didn't it? And it went to penalties.
Yeah. Dinos Mavropanos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it. Am I right in saying he rattled it into the top right corner?
Proper Mark Noble style.
It
Just
was a beauty, wasn't it?
yeah. Ran up
An
and
absolute
smacked it.
beauty.
Ace.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you know what was really good? There wasn't any Paquetá, stutter.
Nope.
None of that bollocks.
Smash it.
Just 5-6 blokes running up and smacking it with ace.
As hard as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fair enough. Loved it. Let's do a bit of social media. Stack again. I'm wondering whether either he's fallen out with his missus, because I think it's his missus that does this. It's social media.
Yeah, she pays for ChatGPT Premium, doesn't she?
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Or he's just got bored, because what he's done is he's taken the FA Cup one with Derby as a racing driver, and he's just changed the Derby car to a green and yellow Norwich one. So I'm a bit disappointed with him, quite frankly. Yeah. But this one, he had it's him coming on, I think, or talking tactics with somebody, and he's got a little Pikachu hat on, and the tactics board that the coach has got in his hand is it must be a Pokemon card collection. So
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, do with that as you will.
Where's the drug references? Have they disappeared?
I think they've gone. I mean, apart from the fact that, as a 28, something like that. As a 28-year-old man, I think maybe you need to be on drugs to be doing Pokemon, don't you?
Yeah.
Leeds went the FA Cup, the classic thing, old school programme. Nemetra again, pointing and laughing. So he's, and Calvert-Lewin with a little smile on his face. Not smiling now, though, are you?
No.
And then Leeds Crystal Palace, which is hilarious because they've done it again, basically. Do you remember when I said that Goodmanson was dressed as, what did I say he was dressed as? A Viking?
Yes.
No, not a Viking. I said gladiator.
But it were a Viking.
But it were a Viking.
Yeah.
And then it was the Fulham game, in fact. And he did that amazing headed own goal. And I said, they're never going to do that again. Crystal Palace. So it's just him and Ampadu, and it's at Palace, and it's just sort of a picture of him just about to kick the ball. Fortunately, he got sent off, but we'll talk about that later. So they really need to stop featuring Gabby Goodmanson in those social media posts. The YTS is back for Leeds. The FA Cup against the Post, got that one. And also one where it's sort of tucked into the back of the goal, as if the wind has sort of flattened it against the netting. Must have been bored. Pirro went for it with Norwich City's usual sort of fare. Any mouth? Yeah, his mouth's open.
Yeah.
But he played against Norwich, didn't really do well. And so against Crystal Palace, there's him with the ball at the front, but then behind him, he's doing the old after he's scored, looking
praise
to the sky
Jesus
thing.
Yeah.
Didn't play against Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
West Ham Brentford. Is it arty? I don't know whether it's arty. It's Somerville, and he's sort of got a load of lines through him, and there's things on it. And anyway, he's playing with a ball or something.
Yeah. They've got a new edit pack off Photoshop.com, whatever.
Yeah, and then couldn't be asked with pictures against City. Just irons, couple of bubbles.
Just a case of just keep it down because we might just lose this 6-0.
But you didn't.
No. Did all right.
And after that, because you did all right in those two games, we've then got Somerville in a video, and I can't decide this New York top that he's got on. Can't decide whether I like it or not. It looks like it needs an iron, so I'm not sure. But he's been handed Oscars, and obviously, Did you see
Oscars,
that video?
No, I don't think I have. But
Oh.
obviously it's Oscar time in it, and yeah.
So he's
YTS
been
is,
handed Oscars because he's playing well. I mean, he is playing quite well.
He is.
So fair enough. Do you want to talk about the Oscars?
I think that I'm pleased for PTA Paul Thomas Anderson. I think he's a fantastic, and I think that film is very good. I think all the people involved in it are very good. I think that they bottled giving some of the big awards to Sinners. I don't think they got. I mean, they got best actor, they got best score, and all that kind of like they kind of went, here's well done.
DOP got one.
Yeah, and I think
I think that was deserved.
Yeah, absolutely deserved, and also as a woman of color, I think it's a really nice.
Yeah.
And I think there was a fear that if they gave too much to Sinners, they might be seen in the Trump era as it being slightly affirmative action, for want of a better, phrase to kind of hark back to the 80s and stuff. And I think they bottled it slightly. And that's not to take anything away from PTA and that film and Leo and all those people, because I think it's a fantastic film. But I do think
was a good
Sinners deserve more.
Yeah, okay. What I will say is, though, right. You look at both those films, and I enjoyed both of them. I thought it was too long. I thought there were 45 minutes off the beginning of it probably would have worked. However, Sean Penn, best supporting actor. But I'd add to that Michael B. Jordan. It was I thought it was good, Oscar worthy.
The acknowledgement that he's played two parts in it, and there's all that kind of going on. But then in that respect, Tom Hardy should have got it for Legend.
Well, exactly. Because
and
arguably Tom Hardy's performance in Legend of those two characters is better than Michael B. Jordan's.
Yeah, they needed to give a big award to it, and I think that's the one they chose because he's a popular guy. And
Anyway, there we go. Bit of Oscar chat.
Interesting. F1. So this is the Brad Pitt film.
Oh, hello.
But that film. So they were like,
I've not seen it.
One of the big marketing things is that this is all in camera. We put cameras on the side of F1 cars and we drove them for real. Blah blah blah. They were like, it's all practical. There's no VFX. Then they got nominated for best VFX, and out comes all the B-roll of all the VFX shots that they've had to do, and they've replaced all the cars, and they've done all this, and they've replaced the crowds and all that stuff. So they've gone like, oh, there's no VFX, it's all in camera, and all the marketing was based around it, showing clips of Brad Pitt at the side of Silverstone and all, where they've gone and followed the circuit around and all that. Yeah. And then they've just gone, oh right, well, now we've diminished the work of hundreds of artists, we're going to proudly flaunt it in our campaign to win an Oscar.
Well, they don't give a shit, do they? Couldn't care less.
No. I've not seen it.
I've not seen it either. Not seen it. Anyway, back to social media. We'll just finish this off because the YTS maybe couldn't find their lens. So it's just standard pictures. But what they did do was add a load of shading to it. So they turned rather than putting a lens on, they turned the lights off. So they did that. And that's about it because I'm just pissed off with football. So
that's just why we've just spent 10 minutes talking about the Oscars.
Yeah, correct. I'd rather talk about that, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Leeds because it'll be relatively quick.
Oh, what is it, 0-0?
0-0. But Norwich, we beat Norwich 3-0, well deserved in the cup, setting up a nice quarter-final against you guys. Which is interesting for us. The game against Crystal Palace. So we went into that game thinking this is I went in saying this is a must not lose. We can't, we've talked about these before. You mustn't lose. You go away from home to Crystal Palace. Historically, we're shit in London.
Yeah.
We absolutely dominate them. We get a penalty. I think the penalty is deserved. Dominic Calvert-Lewin puts it wide. And you're thinking, it's one of them days. This is going to be one of them. But then you're starting to think, this could be one of them that is actually a season ruiner. Because Goodmanson gets a second yellow card for dangerous play, I think they said. Now, the tackle was a little bit late. It was a foot in. It wasn't like sliding or anything. It was a bit late. It was a foul. There was no way, and I think everybody pretty much agrees, there's no way it's a yellow card. Now, interestingly, what happens in this moment is that the referee books him and then carries on talking. and then the Crystal Palace players have to remind him that he's already booked him. So he's talking to them, and then he looks across at the fourth official, and then he sort of goes, "Oh yeah, no, I know that," and pulls out the red card, and it's like, "Oh my God, you didn't know, you'd forgotten that." And the first one was a booking, by the way. It was one of them, pulling the shirt back, got round him, pulled him back. It's a yellow card, that first one. Now, those two things I've got no real problem with, other than the fact that I think if he'd have remembered that he'd have booked him, he'd have said to him, "No more. That's the last one." He'd have done that, and he didn't. He didn't remember, so go on.
Yeah, which is a consistent way of controlling the game. He's like, you're on a booking, watch it. It's the same as, I've told you once, kid, one more and you're on the naughty step. It's that,
Yeah. We've seen it. We've seen it a million times before. The fact is, and he'll never admit it, he forgot. He'd booked him. Now, the problem then is that for one of the Crystal Palace players, and at the top of my head, I can't remember. I'm not going to start trying to remember. He got away with exactly the same thing, pulling back. It was a yellow card, but it was in the first sort of 3 minutes. So you often see that, don't you? It's like, in the first 3 minutes, it's like, whoa, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Because it's beginning of the game, I'm going to let you off. He then got booked for, I think, pulling somebody back. And then he tripped up Justin James. And the referee didn't yellow card him. Justin, he'd gone.
Yeah.
Tripped him. Didn't yellow card him. And you're going, hang on a minute. But basically, and when you look at the stats, Goodmanson made 2 tackles before he got sent off. 2 tackles. Luckily, Crystal Palace are shit. And I don't think they had a big chance. I was listening to a podcast. Somebody said that in the second half against our 10 men, they didn't have a big chance.
No.
They had quite a bit of the ball. We defended well. Afterwards, after the game, Daniel Farke said that he'd run through brick walls for his Warriors, and when he goes on about all this sort of stuff, knife between the teeth and all that sort of shit he comes out with. But I was really impressed with them because they could have just gone. The 3 games that we've had, I mean, the refereeing is just awful, and I genuinely believe that the referees now don't know how to referee the game anymore. And I actually think it's because they've been micromanaged. You micromanage anybody. You stand over their shoulder. You look at and analyse every single thing that they do, every decision that they make. They're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah, because it is, and it's again, it's conscious or unconscious. It's that thing, isn't it? It's just like, well, I'd better either not make this choice because I know I'll get called on it, or I need to make this choice because I bet they'll call me on it. And it's all that stuff, isn't it? Just second guessing yourself all the time. Yeah,
easily 2 points dropped, and you're sort of going, that's you're 3 points behind us. Spurs. I mean, luckily for us, it's as we were because we all got the same result.
Yeah.
I'd still rather be in our position than in your position because we've got points on the board. But I am, I'm on this thing of it just seems like everything is going against us.
Yeah.
Like everything is. Like the refereeing, the decisions. We now lose Goodmanson for the game. I mean, it's a 1-match ban, but you can't, because of it's 2 yellows, you can't appeal it. Yeah. So we lose him against Brentford, and Brentford at home now is a must-win. We have to win on Saturday now.
I mean, just looking at the stats against Palace, XG 1.12 to their 0.6, 10 shots on target, 10 shots, 3 on target, and that's with 33% possession.
What I will say about the XG is 0.7 something of that is the penalty that was missed.
Yeah.
So you can take that off and it balances out a bit. But yeah, you're absolutely right about Palace at home. I mean, a mate of mine is a Palace fan. He said he didn't watch it, and he said I'm struggling to watch at the moment because we just can't score goals. They're really poor, really poor. And that's the annoying thing because you go, if they're really poor and they're 6 points ahead of us or whatever it is, what does that make us? So my stinker again, I'm afraid, is the referee. It's the referee. I mean, he's just awful. Awful.
And that's fair enough. So Man City, it's one of those games traditionally that West Ham could turn up and find a result in. And, we got a point. And it was one of those where I think we absolutely deserved to lose it. I think they were much better than us for more periods of the game. I think we were just better defending. Our defense was that's the joy of that game. Is our attack was stunted by the fact that we needed to really watch ourselves and defend. Like Erling Haaland barely got a touch of the ball, and they only got one goal because of a slightly skew-if cross. Everything else, there's I've seen about 3 videos on YouTube from channels who aren't affiliated to West Ham, just general football podcasts, talking about our midfield box and how we nullified Man City with this midfield box. And you watch those and you're like, yeah, absolutely borne out by what I saw as well. And you look at the stats, you look at 71.5% against our 28% possession. 24 shots, 6 on target for Man City, and we had 1 shot, 1 on target. Dinos Mavropanos. He is genuinely getting to Winston Reid status of that kind of slightly dodgy. Winston Reid, slightly dodgy in the season we got relegated under Avram Grant, had a storming season in the Championship and came back and was, New Zealand captain, went to World Cups and all that kind of stuff, and was an absolute legend at West Ham.
And also an absolute head case.
Yeah.
Like Mavropanos.
Yeah, there's a photograph really late on in the game. Mavropanos got smacked in the head with a ball, and I think they clocked it at 60 miles an hour when it hit him in face. And there's a photograph, and it's straight on in his mush, and the ball is like a half moon because it's just compacted so much against his face. And it's like that at 60 mile an hour. Those Premier League footballs they're hard. I mean they're built for whatever. But it's still got a sting.
So when I was at school, I was at school, I usually played as sort of a holding midfielder, but more not because I was very good at tackling, but because I could see a pass. Or I played right back quite a bit. But anyway, the goalkeeper, I think, either got sent off or was injured or something. Just a school match. And I went in net, and it was me that went in. I obviously just went, I'll go in. But I was tiny. And 2 things happened. The first one was a guy shot from the halfway line, and it bounced about 4 times and still bounced over my head and went in. That was one. And then they got a penalty, and exactly the same thing. I saved the penalty with my face, and when I saw that hit him, I was like, I'd like PTSD back to them. My nose was bust. Yeah. It was like full plant on in the face. And this will have been, what will this be, mid-80s probably. I remember that hurting a lot. So, yeah.
It's funny you say that. I had a similar experience. I never played school football very much based on my one and only appearance for Towngate, which was my junior school, and I got smacked in the head with the ball. I was a central defender because I was tall. Mr. Firth went, "You're tall, you can do central defence." I ain't got a clue what I was doing. I just kind of stood there and watched quite a lot. Quite enjoyed watching it. I got raked at half time, and then just kind of fanning about, messing about with one of the other lads because we just weren't bothered anymore. But I remember getting smacked in face with ball, like side at face. It weren't quite as bad, but
against the ear, that's a bad one though as well.
Yeah, it stung. It stung, and I kind of told myself at the time, it's an injury. I've been taken off because of that, and it weren't because I was shit.
I got a hit in the side of the head with a cricket ball. I played a lot of cricket when I was a kid. That hurt.
Yeah.
In fact, it probably explains the amount of times I've been hit in the head. It probably explains a lot of what's going on or not going on in my head, really.
Maybe.
Anyway, back to the game. So Mavropanos.
So Mavropanos is genuinely there's an AI generated thing going around, and it's The Great Escape starring Dinos Mavropanos, and he's there in all army gear and that, and there's all barbed wire fence, and it's just one of those where it just feels. I've just reminded I've not put up the team news. I've just done it now. Yeah, it's one of them. I think he was the star of that game. I think there's stuff to really enjoy about it. I mean, the game was tense. I was really tense for a lot of it. I didn't enjoy watching it. I think their goal was very lucky, but I think the star of it was our defence. Absolutely, our defence. Disasi is one of them. We have a thing of signing defenders in a January transfer window who turn out to be icons of the club, and he's here on loan. And I hope that will end up being a permanent transfer over summer. But you go back to Craig Dawson, we signed him for £2 million.
Are you going to be able to buy anybody in the summer?
I imagine that we've probably started talks with Chelsea over a loan with an obligation. And we might be like, we'll loan him next season.
Might be able to get it.
And we might, because, if we do well next season, that might alleviate. If we get sold over the summer, that might sort us out.
Yeah,
but I think
might do.
kick the can down the road, but let's just make sure that Disasi's in the starting 11 come first game of the season.
Let me just go back to something that you said about City scoring the goal but being lucky.
Yeah.
You had one shot.
Yeah, and it was really good. And it was Mavropanos. Because that's all you need, isn't it?
Well, it is all you need.
Yeah.
It is all you need. Correct.
Yeah.
It is all you need.
I think they had like 26 or something stupid.
Yeah.
But it was an absolute defensive masterclass. And, we spoke about, going to Fulham and winning 1-0 there, and it was boring defensive, kind of sitting back stuff. And there's something about the thrill of going against a team like Man City and nullifying that.
Can I ask a question? Because this genuinely, because I'm thinking about Spurs, I'm thinking about Notts Forest. For us, it's slightly different because we're newly promoted, but you guys as well, right? All those three clubs in recent years have had managers and sacked managers because of the style of football. All those three clubs at the moment, certainly their fans, would be going, we just need to get through this season now. It doesn't matter how the points come across. It doesn't matter what the performances are like. That's another season where that's happening. So, not necessarily for Nottingham Forest, but certainly for you and for Spurs. Next season, is that football okay again to survive?
We had one good season under Moyes that catapulted us into Europe, and it would happen finishing. We finished 6th when we were in COVID. We then finished 7th the next season, which, to be fair, was the good season we had with Moyes. We looked into the COVID one. We had a good season under Moyes. And then you look at the rest of it, and it's like 14th, 17th, and we were sliding down. We did Postecoglou. So we did well in a cup, which made sure that we stayed in Europe, but we were shit in the league. The reason why we suffer in this season isn't necessarily all to do with Potter and Lopetegui. It's the fact that we didn't either invest in the team and invest in Moyes at the point where we could have done, because then he's not motivated to do anything with the squad, because it's like it's not going to be his team. He's like, I'm going to take my paycheck and just not be embarrassed. That's his goal for that season. And I can't blame him for that. That's a very reasonable thing to do as a Premier League manager, is to safeguard your reputation. And that's exactly what he did in the last season. And we ended up 17th. Yeah. And then Lopetegui comes in, who's a completely different style of manager, attack. And he decimated our squad. So he got rid of all the
I wish I'd have asked now.
And then Potter just isn't capable as a Premier League manager to do anything.
Quite possibly. Possibly.
And I feel like
right, just hold that thought there, because I'm going to ask you another question in a minute.
We're going to answer your first one then.
What about the but hold that thought. Right. So have you got anything to add on the game?
No.
Right, get a minute up. So give me a minute then on why the defensive football that you just talked about, the masterclass, is good enough for this year and next year before the fans start shouting for his head.
Paco Jimenez. No, the thing is, with Nuno is, yes, in his job at Spurs, he was sacked because he was too defensive. In his job at Nottingham Forest, he was sacked because he fell out with the manager, but did really well with defensive football. And I think Nottingham Forest weren't really asked about the style of football. They were just like, we're doing really well, cool, we're back in the Premier League. We'll worry about the style of football later. Wolves, he did really well with Wolves, playing that kind of defensive football. What we're seeing at West Ham isn't Nuno defensive football. What we're seeing at West Ham is a solid defence, which is obviously coached through Nuno's methods. But the addition of Paco Jimenez has made sure that we are now an attacking thing. And I think this is more to do with the change in the style of football in the Premier League, and that idea that we are now playing a 4-4-2 as a more attacking, but with a solid defence. We're not tippy-tappy, that bullshit. We have a direct football club, but we're an attacking football club, and we are balanced. And in terms of attacking defence, we're not one or the other. Where I think that's been the problem. We've been too much one way and too much the other. Whereas currently, the football is enjoyable, and we're getting results, and that's the key.
How long was that?
About a minute and a half.
Oh God, it was about a minute and a half of bullshit. It was amazing. Of course, it's enjoyable because you're picking points up.
Yeah. But the thing is like under Moyes, when Moyes was that COVID season when we had Jesse Lingard, we were playing really good attacking football, but we were defensively solid. What the problem was is that the board didn't invest, and Moyes went, fuck you then. Yeah, we won a cup, and you could tell he gave a shit about the cup because of how we were playing in that competition.
But on the flip side of that, we had Marcelo Bielsa, and it was exciting football, and we were getting in that second season. We were getting beat 5 every week.
Yeah.
But you're right. The Premier League has changed. It's more physical now. It's not nobody's playing tippy tappy football or anything like that. Nobody's
Tony
doing
Pulis
that
is angrily looking at his screen every Saturday,
Correct.
going, "I could do that."
Yeah, I told you. Told you.
Come on, long throws.
Give me a minute then.
All right,
let's get this done.
What would be deemed a successful season should you stay up for next year? Yeah. What's successful Leeds United second year in the Premier League?
Oh my God, just staying up again. I think that the problem is right. So the thing is that what's coming to bite us is the fact that we just didn't quite add enough quality in the summer and in January. So we've added the stability. So the defensive structure, the big bastard United, all that sort of stuff. The Anton Stack. We've added that. We just haven't got that. We haven't got the Somerville. We haven't got the multiple players that Tottenham have got up front. We haven't got even Brentford with their forwards. We just don't have that quality up front. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has done amazing, but I guess next season, if we can stay up, I think that's where the gamble has been. It's like, so next season, then we've got that base, we can start bringing in some quality up front. And then you've just got to hope you survive as well in the second season because it'll still be hard.
Minute and 6. Farker with Calvert-Lewin, and earlier on in Leeds' season was playing that brand of slightly defensive football of a big man up top, which we've had under Moyes, we had under Sam Allardyce. It's that Sean Dyche kind of dog shit, dirty, crap, boring football. And that's the kind of thing, whereas I think Nuno's very different. Like, he's defensive, but he's tactically, I think he's got, like, he'll change things in the game, and that's interesting. And I think Farker's finding that in the second half of this season. He's stumbled. He's
definitely finding it.
Yeah. I don't give him credit by saying stumbled on. He's tactically got the nous about him to develop.
Yeah, I mean, we think he might have stumbled upon it. But I think the difference between, and I won't go into it in any depth, but the difference between the beginning of the season, I think, is Dominic Calvert-Lewin's fitness, but also the fact that he's now found a system where he's getting players closer to Calvert-Lewin. But interesting, in the last couple of games, Calvert-Lewin has started to look a bit isolated again up there. So we need to get people close to him, and we've been doing that, and we need to get back to doing that because we've got to start picking some points up.
Yeah.
We've got Brentford at home next. You are away to Villa,
which is potentially winnable.
Depends which Villa. Yeah, I think so. It depends which Villa turn up. They haven't been great. They haven't been great. I hope that you lose, and I hope we win.
Thanks very much. I hope we both win, because that means Spurs are going down.
Assuming Spurs lose, they've got Nottingham Forest on Sunday. That is a massive game, massive game. And you almost want to draw. You want to draw there, really, don't you?
Yeah, because that's I want to draw, and then us to get 3 points, Leeds to get 3 points, and start pushing those two teams further down. And it's just between them two then.
Yeah. Right, like and subscribe.
Yeah. How very much, City.
Yeah.